Good morning, students. Hope all of you are doing well. Today we are going to start chapter 2nd. The name of the chapter 2nd is Physical and Chemical Changes. In this chapter we are going to study physical and chemical changes, examples, difference between physical and chemical changes, and the conditions for chemical reactions. So let's do it one by one. The first topic is physical and chemical properties. Every substance possesses certain characteristics called properties, and properties are divided into two categories: physical properties and chemical properties. So first we know what is physical properties. The physical properties associated with physical change and can be determined by simple physical observation. Examples: melting point, boiling point, density, solubility, color, order, thermal and electrical conductivity. So you can see all these examples and all these properties are associated with physical change and determined by physical observation. In chemical properties associated with chemical change and determined by chemical reactions. So it is very important that chemical properties determined by chemical reactions. So these properties are known as chemical properties. Example: chemical properties include action with air, water, acid, alkalis, oxidizing agent and reducing agents. So here you can see alkali. So what is alkali? Alkali is the new term here. So all of you should know what is alkalis. The solution of base in water is known as alkali. When we add base in water, so it's known as the alkalis. And then oxidizing agent and reducing agent. So all of you know very well what is oxidation and reduction. Oxidation is loss of electron and reduction is gain of electron. So what is oxidizing agent? The agent which take electrons from elements or compound are known as oxidizing agent, and the agent which give electron to the element or the compound is known as the reducing agent. So these are the new terms. All of you have to know these terms. Then we see characteristics of a physical change. First, it's a temporary change. There is a change in physical properties. The composition of the substance does not change. No new substance are produced. This change can be easily reversed, means reaction is reversible. There is no energy change. There is no change in mass. So these are the important characteristic of a physical change that all of you keep it in the mind. Then example of physical changes. When we see the example of physical change, so you can understand easily what is the physical change. First example is dissolution of sugar in water. For this experiment, take 5 gram of sugar and dissolve in 100 ml of water taken in beaker. So you can see in the diagram, we take the beaker, we take 100 ml of water, then we add 5 gram of sugar in 100 ml of water and we make a solution. So what are the observation? Observation are here. No new substances are formed. On crystallization of sugar solution, the sugar is recovered back in the original crystalline form. So I have already explained in physical change the reaction is reversible. When we do the crystallization of the sugar, we can brought back sugar again. So this is a physical change. No chemical properties associated here. Only physical properties will change. So this is the example of physical change. The next characteristic of physical change is there is no change in mass during the dissolution of sugar in water. It is not accompanied by energy change. All of you know that what is dissolution? When a substance completely mixed with another substance. So we call this dissolution. A substance completely mixes with another substance. So this is called the dissolution. The next example is freezing of water. So for this experiment, take some water and place it in a refrigerator to get ice. And the following observations we get. The ice on gaining heat from temperature melts to give liquid water. Therefore, it is a temporary change. no change in mass. The heat lost during freezing is gained during melting. So this is a physical change. When you keep some water in the refrigerator, so it will convert it into the ice, but the mass will be same. Mass will not change, and the energy or heat which it lose to convert into a ice, when we convert ice into the water, so it gain energy again. So there is no change in the energy and no change in the mass, and reaction is reversible. We convert water to ice and we also convert ice to water. So this is the physical change. You can see other examples of the physical change: melting of wax, melting of butter, ringing of an electric bell, expansion and contraction of substances, sublimation of iodine, dissolution of sodium chloride in water, evaporation of water. So sublimation is also a physical change and a reversible process. It is very important. So keep it in mind. Sublimation is physical change and it is reversible procedure. Then dissolution of sodium chloride. What is sodium chloride? Sodium chloride is the common salt or table salt which we use in our home. So when we dissolve sodium chloride in water, is a physical change because no chemical properties associated with it and no new substances form. Then evaporation of water. So what is evaporation? These are the terms which has come in your chapter. So all of you know these new terms. What is evaporation? When liquid changes into the gaseous state. So this process is known as evaporation. So all of you clear about these the new terms and the examples of the physical changes. Then the next topic is chemical change. It is a permanent change in which original substance give rise to the new substance having different composition and properties. In simple words, we can say chemical change is a permanent change. In this change, new substance will form having different compositions and properties. So there are certain characteristics of a chemical change. It is a permanent change. New substances are produced. The composition of the substance change. This change cannot be reversed. This is irreversible change. There is a gain or loss of energy. There is a change in the mass of the substance. Means after change, the mass of the substance will change. There is an example of chemical changes. So first is burning of a paper. Burn a small piece of paper in Bunsen burner and you observe the following. So we take the paper and we burn the small piece of paper in the Bunsen burner. So what we observe? We observe that paper burns producing new substances, carbon dioxide and water. We know in chemical change new substance will form. So in this change carbon dioxide and water will form. And paper burns producing new substances. The substances produced on burning do not combine to give back paper. We can't brought back the paper again. So it is a permanent and it is a chemical change. It cannot be reversible. If we want to brought back the paper again, we can't. So it is a chemical change. There is change in mass of burning. When we burn the paper, the mass will also be changed. So an energy is given out in the form of heat of light. When we burn the paper, there is a heat and light. So this is energy. So energy loss is also there. So this is a chemical change. Then the second example is rusting of iron. Take 2 iron nails and expose them to moist air. A new reddish brown compound called rust is produced on the surface of the nail. So we take 2 nails, we expose them into the moist of air. We know when iron react with moist and air, it will form the rust. So the reddish brown compound, rust is the reddish brown compound produced on the surface of the nails, and the formula of the rust is Fe2O3.XH2O. It is the formula of the rust. And the following observation we will get. The mass of the substance increases. When this happens, the mass of the substance will increase. New substance is formed, that is iron oxide. The rust is iron oxide. So new substance is formed. The change can't be reversed. We can't brought back the iron again. Energy is given out during this change, but it is very small. So energy loss in there, but in small quantity. So this is the another example of chemical change. Then we go to the other examples of chemical change, like ripening of fruit. You can see in the diagram. So in ripening of fruits, when fruit ripe, we can't brought back the raw fruit again. So it is a chemical change and it is a permanent change. And ripe fruit, the new substance is formed. And the another example is butter turning rancid. So it's also the chemical change because the new substances formed have different chemical properties. So it is the chemical change. Then the next topic is difference between physical and chemical changes. We have already studied physical and chemical changes. So it is very easy to find out the differences. Let's see. In physical change, it is a temporary change, and chemical, it is a permanent change. No new substances are produced in physical change, but in chemical change, new substances with different properties are produced. There is no absorption or evolution of energy in physical change, but energy is always evolved or absorbed in chemical change. There is no change in mass. Masses of the substance change. However, total mass remains unchanged because it follows the law of conservation of mass. The physical properties of a substance change, but its composition does not change. In chemical, there is a change in physical properties as well as in the composition of the substance. So these are the differences between physical and chemical changes, and all of you understand about this. Then the next topic is chemical reaction. When one or more substances, it can be elements or compound. So you know very well what is element and what is compound. Elements having one kind of atoms and group of elements will make compound. For example, all metals like sodium, potassium are elements because they are having only one kind of atoms, and compounds, you can take the example of water. In water, there are two kinds of atom, hydrogen and oxygen. The formula of water is H2O. So there is hydrogen atoms and oxygen atoms. So it is a compound. Undergo a chemical change with absorption or evolution of energy to give new substances called product. This change is called the chemical reaction. So there is an example of chemical reaction. You can see sodium chloride plus silver nitrate, both are in the aqueous state. They will form silver chloride plus sodium nitrate. So this is the example of chemical reaction. You can see in between there is a arrow. So on right hand side we call it reactants. Sodium chloride and silver nitrate is reactant. On left hand side the substances we call product. So we represent it in this way. In middle we put the arrow, and in right hand side there is reactants and left hand side there is products. So during chemical reaction, old bond in the reactants are broken and new bonds are formed. So old bonds are broken and new bonds are formed, and new substances will form with new properties. So this is a chemical reaction. You can see very well in the example. Then the next topic is condition for a chemical change. What condition required to do a chemical change? First is close contact. When a chemical reaction occurs only when substances are brought in close contact with each other. So how can they be in the close contact? It can be brought about by grinding the reactants or dissolving the reactants in a suitable solvents. So when reactants come into the close contact, the reaction will occur. You can understand it by the help of example. So there is an example. Sodium at once react with water when it is brought in contact with water. So when sodium come into the contact with water, then sodium hydroxide will form and hydrogen gas liberated. So the formula of sodium Na plus twice H2O, then twice NaOH. Sodium hydroxide will form and hydrogen gas liberated. The next topic is the state of the reactants. So the state of the reactants, whether it is solid, liquid or gases, is affect the rate of the reaction. We know the kinetic energy of the molecule is least in solid and maximum in gases. Because the kinetic energy is maximum in gases, so the frequency of collision will also be maximum in gases, and hence rate of reaction will be high for gaseous state. So if the reactants in gaseous state, the rate of reaction will high, and if they in solid or liquid state, so the rate of reaction will be moderate. And the next condition is heat. Some reaction occur only by heating. Some reaction need the presence of heat. For example, potassium chlorate decomposes only by heating. The formula of potassium chlorate, KClO3. So when potassium chlorate decomposes, it requires heat. It decomposes into potassium chloride and oxygen gas will be released. So this is the example of heat. Similarly, there is another example when iron and sulfur react in the presence of heat, they will form iron sulfide. So if there is no presence of heat, they do not react or mix. And if there is presence of heat, iron and sulfur react and they will form iron sulfide. So some reaction need the presence of heat. Without the presence of heat, they will not be occur. And the next condition is light. Some reaction take place only when there is a light or when reactant exposed to light. Such reaction are called photochemical reaction. So this is very important point. This is very important. You have to note it that when reaction take place in the presence of light, this is called the photochemical reaction. The example is hydrogen and chlorine. When hydrogen and chlorine diffuse to sunlight, hydrochloric acid will form. You can see in the example. Then the next example is conversion of oxygen to ozone. So there is a oxygen in the presence of ultraviolet, oxygen will convert into the ozone. The formula of ozone is O3. The next example is photosynthesis in plants. So this is a very common example. You have also studied photosynthesis in your previous classes. So in photosynthesis, carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll will convert to glucose plus oxygen. So 6CO2 plus 6H2O, the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, it will convert into C6H12O6, that is glucose plus 6O2. Then the next condition is pressure. Some reaction take place only when the reactant are subjected to high pressure. So some reaction occur when there is a high pressure. For example, formation of ammonia. So when we want to make ammonia, so we need the high pressure, like N2 nitrogen plus hydrogen, and hydrogen will form ammonia. So you can see the reaction N2 plus 3H2, then 200 to 900 atmospheric pressure. So there is 200 to 900 atmosphere pressure which is needed, and the presence of iron and molybdenum at 450 degree centigrade. So it will form ammonia. So the required condition is 200 to 900 atmospheric pressure, and iron and molybdenum are catalyst, and 450 degree centigrade temperature. Then ammonia will form. So the pressure is very important for this reaction. Then next, formation of sulfur trioxide. So when sulfur dioxide and oxygen react in the presence of vanadium pentoxide, V2O5. What is V2O5? Vanadium pentoxide. It is a catalyst and the temperature is 400 to 500 degree centigrade. So sulfur trioxide will form. So this is another example of pressure. And heat and energy will also produce in this reaction. The next condition is electricity. Some reaction occur when an electric discharge is passed or in the presence of the electricity. So now we see the example of this condition. Now we come to the example of the electric condition or electrolysis. So there is an example when acidulated water decomposes on passing electric current through it, giving hydrogen and oxygen. So what is acidulated water? When we add acid in the water, it will become acidulated water. For example, if we add lemon in the water, it will become acidulated. So when acidulated water passing electric current, hydrogen and oxygen will form. We can see in the reaction twice H2O on electrolysis, twice H2 plus O2 will form. Catalyst. So we should know first what is catalyst. A catalyst can increase or decrease the rate of reaction without itself undergoing any change. A catalyst is a substance which increase or decrease the rate of reaction but remains unchanged at the end of the reaction. So this is very important point. For example, potassium chlorate decomposes at 230 degree centigrade instead of 400 degree centigrade if heated in the presence of manganese dioxide. So manganese dioxide work as a catalyst here. You can see in the reaction twice KClO3, that is potassium chlorate, in the presence of MnO2 manganese dioxide, it will convert twice KCl potassium chloride plus oxygen. So there is a presence of manganese dioxide. If we don't take any catalyst, so potassium chlorate will decomposes on 400 degree centigrade. So you can see here in the presence of catalyst, the rate of reaction is going to be fast. Then we come to the promoter. What is promoter? A substance which increase the efficiency of a catalyst is known as promoter. Simple, a substance which increase the efficiency of a catalyst is known as promoter. For example, nitrogen plus hydrogen. When it will react, they will form ammonia. So N2 plus 3H2 in the presence of iron and molybdenum, it will convert into ammonia. So molybdenum act as a promoter during manufacture of ammonia. Molybdenum increases the efficiency of a catalyst. So iron is a catalyst here and molybdenum is a promoter. Then the next condition is concentration of the reactant. With increase the concentration of the reactant, the rate of reaction increases. When we increase the concentration of the reactants, the rate of reaction will also increase. Students, we have completed chapter 2 here. We have covered all the topics, so go through it. And if you have any doubt, watch it again and again, so you are able to clear your doubts. Thank you. Have a nice day. Take care.